Our first matchup of the Cunninghams versus SIMP will begin in a couple more minutes, but we want to remind everybody to please follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA, and use that hashtag WGLNA so we can find your tweets and put them up on the broadcast. Also, betting makes its return. We had a voting system happen where you get to vote on which team you think is going to make it out, and that betting or that voting tally will influence the odds for betting in the chat.
Yeah, which means, of course, that SIMP is heavily favored tonight, and so you might not get as nice returns, but, I mean, a bet's a bet.
A bet's a bet. A bet's a bet. But if you need more information about betting, ask the people in Twitch chat. Our moderators will help you out. Also, the question of the day today is going to be, what new light tanks do you hope to see tonight? Since the 9.3 update, there's been a couple additions.
Yeah. We've got a nice little group of light tanks added to the German, Russian, and American lines. I'm liking the new light T-54. I think it's very cool. It competes with a lot of medium tanks very well. Maybe not as well with something like the, the T-49, the new derpy light tank from America, which has a 152mm cannon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that. Maybe the new iteration of the T-52, the LTTB. I'm looking forward to that. And we probably won't see it, but the new Chaffee is kind of cute. And with the new MM, I'm liking to play that on the pub servers right now.
Do you think that some of this is going to bring that painful nostalgia of the T-52?
It already has, but it's bittersweet. I miss the T-52, but I love these new tanks. And when I was playing them on the test server, I was having tons of fun with it. They bring this level of play that you didn't get to see a lot. And maybe it was because on the test server you were seeing light tanks everywhere, so you got to have lights versus lights all the time. But when you mix that in with the pub servers and the regular server where there's tank destroyers with all that stuff, it's very nice. You should really check them all out. Also, the new German one, the RU, is phenomenal. A great mobile sniper, and on open maps, I don't see why not to bring those.
Well, I am biased when it comes to American tanks. Those are the ones I will try first, but I'll put the other ones on my list.
Take a look at the Walker Bulldog.
The Walker Bulldog?
Oh, man. What a tank. It's so good.
I always like strong light tanks. Of course, the strength, yes, armor-wise, it won't compare to a medium or a heavy tank, but when you have a well-balanced light tank, I feel it's very, very important. And when it's in good hands, that's why we see Commander J perform very well, or also in the 5100.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at the rosters. Cunninghams versus SIMP here, as these two teams have a sordid history. In Season 4, Cunninghams finished in top 8 because they lost to the SIMP in the playoff semis.
Well, taking a look at the rosters, I do like Dodoma and Militant A3, and that's probably the big point I want to bring up for tonight. Will they be able to affect the Cunninghams in their ability to perform? Dodoma, always a top performer on whatever team he's on, and Militant A3, a top performer from Fnatic last season. These are two players who are heavy hitters, players who you just expect to perform exceptionally. Now, if they fit in with the Cunninghams, well, we know Militant already does from previous seasons, but Dodoma, we'll have to see if he fits in well and flows well with their playstyle, and how this will affect players like Commander J, who seem to be the kind of players you just leave alone and let them do work, or if they'll, we might see change because of that, and we'll see Commander J come back to the fold and rejoin the group and play more closely with other players like Dodoma and Militant with them on the team.
It's no joke when it comes to how well Commander J performs on the Cunninghams, but that is a tough position to be in because they rely so much on him to get those kills, to create those great sweeps, those great flanks, and all other sorts of tactics that rely so heavily on him. All right, battle number 1 is going to take place on Cliff between SIMP and the Cunninghams. Ruka, what do we have for tanks?
All right, great news, guys. We've got 4 AMX 1390s, a T49, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for SIMP. They're going to be bringing the new American light tank, and it looks like we've got the Cunninghams with 3 1390s, 2 RU-251s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. Comps and Germ being in those RU-251s. Let's take a look at these new light tanks. As first, I will be jumping over to Blue Boy's captain. And taking a look at that, that's the 152mm cannon. It hits so hard, but it is so inaccurate. The gun does not settle for an incredibly long time. However, if he just RNGs those shots out, just throws them out whenever he's loaded, Blue Boys could get some nice hits. And this looks like it might be the engagement. Shots fired by Germ, goes right over Blue Boys. and he's going to be backing off. We'll see if he can get the gun depression to maybe throw a shot out here and get some damage that could be the key point for SIMP to get the lead.
Looking from Germ's position, let's check in with the rest of the Cunninghams. Commander J closer to the village, while Dodoma and Militant 83 are hanging back as well, but Militant 83 is the closest to Germ as Germ falls back, hopefully. SIMP would chase, but SIMP's smarter than that, and Germ's gonna maybe do some mountain goating here.
He could. Maybe he'll abort it for now. But take a look at that northern village that currently is held by the Cunninghams, the red team. And they are going to be leaving it now, but I found that very interesting that took those positions that are behind the buildings, and now they're actually going to be transitioning to east side play. I know you're looking forward to that.
I am, as long as it's executed well and they don't hesitate.
But they're spotted now, and that could change their plans.
And the power of Fej, who annihilated the Cunninghams out of the playoffs with a T1 kill against a 1390 of Countess, who is not playing tonight. We don't have word if Countess is still on the Cunninghams team or not. Commander J can't line up a shot against Fej as his two teammates, Germ and Dodoma, fall back. One shot towards Dodoma hits the ground, and Comp's now going to join the rest of his teammates here with 4 of the Tier 8 tanks not going to commit on the east side and move to the north as A. Martin falls.
And that is to Adroxus, who has now picked up a kill. Take a look at the top. You'll see numbers indicating kills next to each of the player icons. It's a little new feature we've got for you guys, so you can keep track of the kills from each player. And I should point out right now that SIMP has taken the midsection of the map with the Cunninghams trying to move east. They've been able to posture up and now have a little bit more control. I think Blue Boys is going to be able to do a little bit more work. Hopefully, for the sake of SIMP, he's able to fire a few more shells, maybe get a good connection, and bring one of these light tanks down to low health. He's got a great spot on the top of the hill where he can get the gun depression needed, and with the Cunninghams pushing, it looks like he's actually going to move away from that position. And this could allow for them to move in and get some control. Let's see if Fej can... Yep, he has spotted it, and he's taking fire as well.
Comps was the one to shoot towards Fej. Fej moved just in time. And Comps and Dodoma will lead the charge on the east, but they're being very, very cautious here. Blue Boys captain and his prime spot up top.
He did get a hit right onto Germ. Germ is down to 294 hit points. HE shell right into the top of his tank is more than sufficient to bring him down to a very competitive, easy to deal with hit point pool. And now Dodoma will take 237 damage as we do see the Cunninghams moving into the southern half of the map, attempting to flank. However, they've kind of put themselves in a bad position, and they're taking a lot of damage for this. Militant 83 in the open as Blue Boys is looking for a target, someone to smite from above.
Comps, less than half health, is the next one to fall as Blue Boys captain fires into the rear of the tank, and Militant 83 gets hit for 263, hanging back behind the houses here. A couple shots fired from the Cunninghams into SIMP to return fire, but Singh could close this out against Militant. Militant's the next to fall. Only 3 tanks remain for the Cunninghams. Germ from far away trying to long-range fire some of the tanks that were focused on the ones that have fallen, but he goes down from Blue Boys captain. Nice shot.
Wow.
Into the side of the tank.
That tank hits so hard. So absurdly hard, and especially with light tanks everywhere, it's such a potent tank when you're in a situation like this. Droxus is closing in, will be loaded shortly.
And Dodoma trying to... Oh, he's not going to flee. He's going to stay in the fight.
He doesn't really have a choice right now.
Abrasive from behind. Who's going to get it? Singh will with the ramp damage, and now Trireme. Last one alive, the T1. It's going to be seen by Heavy 20, who has finished the reload. And one shot is all he needs, and he gets it. And SIMP puts a point on the board. Battle number 1. Well done by SIMP.
Not bad. I like the choice of tank. I think Blue Boys played it excellently. The T-49 showing its potency in this battle, especially when they can get on top of the hill. Or, sorry, I should say the lighthouse, as we call it. Now, the RU-251s didn't really seem to have much of an effect. I guess that was just overall. No one on the Cunninghams was able to have much of an impact on this battle.
The T-49, 1733 when it came to damage. 5 shots fired, 3 of them penetrated. Did a little bit of friendly fire for 134. But
I think
Blue
that
Boys
was right at the end.
Yeah, possibly for fun. But Blue Boys captain, he was our MVP of Season 4, and you can see why here in this battle. top damage and had a great position to punish the movement from the Cunninghams.
Yeah, the T-49 has decent gun depression. We hit so hard. It's putting it up top is like having an artillery piece, but with way less hang time. You don't have to worry about any of that. And it's just such a dominating position for Blue Boys, dominating tank to bring. He has the ability to retreat immediately after firing onto the top of the hill. There's nothing the Cunninghams could do to prevent him from being able to do that. They don't really have tanks that can punish him for peeking out, at least more than he can punish them. He's going to put out maybe 1,000 damage if he wants to when he comes over the top of that hill. Unless the members of the Cunninghams were stacked up and ready to deal that much damage back, Blue Boys was in such a place that he was always going to come out ahead. There were very few situations in which Blue Boys wasn't going to be dominating the Cunninghams from that position. The Cunninghams didn't have a lot of options, and I think the game was won for SIMP in tank picking and also in positional play before there was even a real engagement.
So that was battle number 1. Can they repeat what they just did on Prohorovka this time with the same tanks? Prohorovka has always been well, I say always, but I need to say used to have been a very fast-paced map where the action got intense very quickly. Well, after the meta shifted, that became mines for a while. And now, possibly with these new tanks, these new light tanks that can do significant damage, we'll see a little bit more variety and more simple tankers type play on Prohorovka compared to the slower type play we've been seeing as a current meta for Prohorovka. And that's how simple tankers are so successful on this map.
Yeah, I would look forward to tanks like that. We're looking forward to maybe RU-251s. They make incredibly good mobile snipers, very accurate, very mobile, good gun depression, and good camo. Now, there's a few other choices we might see, but we'll have to see what these guys do. I'm anticipating what these teams choose as they are the top tier. They do understand the game very, very well.
Sure. Well, we have 18 seconds to find out, Rookil. So why don't you go ahead and detail the tanks that they've chosen.
All right, so we do have a T-32 for each side, T-69 for each side, two 1390s for each side, and an RU-251 for each side, along with the two T-1 Cunningham. So we have a mirror matchup here. And this RU-251 looks to be replacing what was a 1390, or was another medium tank, and we're going to see that mobile sniper come out. The RU-251 able to move around to various points in the map, snipe rather well, and hopefully perform exceptionally. We'll have to see who Germ or Blue Boys is able to carry it. I'm guessing Blue Boys is the expected one.
I look forward to how he's going to perform here on Prohorovka. Also, you can't count out the power of the T-32. As Militant 83 will be bringing up the rear with the rest of his team, heading towards the village. This is going to be a split of east and west before we get into the first minute. We do have one tank going up to the, two tanks going up to the hill. It's Dodoma and Germ. Maybe with that long-range fire from Germ and Dodoma. Well, the accuracy is not the best on a 1390 in context and comparison to the other tanks on the battlefield, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, certainly. And I think they should do fine up there. That's a very solid defensive position for the Cunninghams.
Too bad a T-32 is too slow to get up on the hill in time to be effective.
Oh, it could get up there in time. You push it with the 1390. Share the extra horses.
Well, I say that if they were able to spot these four tanks in the village and they knew the T-32 was still trying to climb the hill, they could push against them.
I was saying mine in jest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
It's all right.
I was super serious.
I actually do share my extra horsepower with other tanks. Like if I see a T-95 and he's going all slow, just being that turtle tank, I'm like, you know, I've got a faster tank. Why not give him my extra horsepower and make him go fast? That's such a hard tank. Do the same thing with a T-32. Put 1390 behind it. Make him go fast.
Make him go fast?
Yeah. And then he gets into position. He becomes potent. Heavy tank should lead the way in most situations. And it's something you don't see too much, but it's probably because it wastes efficiency from the 1390s who could be scouting. But
well, both teams are spread on a vertical plane, but you have a little bit more horizontal configuration coming from SIMP here and more of a zigzag line of coverage on the map.
Yeah, when you have control of the west, it can't be quite so solid of a line. Oh, Dodoma is going to be taking some damage from Adroxus. Sorry to interrupt. I interrupted myself. I wanted to apologize to you, but then I realized I was talking.
I will accept your apology on your behalf.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. But when you have the west, I'll return to the point. When you have the west side, you can't quite have that solid line that you see from the train tracks. When you have the east control, the train tracks are your line. You can't really cross it very easily, or at least without risking losing a tank or taking a lot of damage. West side, you've got these hills. They're not perfectly even, and it looks on the mini-map a little bit less organized, but it also affords some very interesting cover.
Not a lot of action or play happening from both teams, except for that shot going into the side of Dodoma.
And we do have a 1390 Abrasive who has 3 marks on his 1390. Impressive. And he may have spotted a Martin a moment ago when he crossed over the tracks.
Shot fired right over Militant 83 in the T-32. That came from the north.
Perhaps Droxus or Heavy 20?
I believe it was from Abrasive.
No, it couldn't have been Abrasive. I don't think he has an angle. He's also looking northeast right now, and has been for a little bit. Maybe Blue Boys. Blue Boys would make a lot of sense. He's being very mobile in that RU, and well, it makes a lot of sense. It's a cute little tank too. Take a look at this thing.
It's possible, yeah.
It's like
Germs in one as well.
What's he up to actually?
RU-251. He's up on the hill. He has no targets to fire towards, and none of them been spotted.
We'll see. He might be able to utilize the mobility a little bit better later in the game. But for now, I think the fact that they're in the east makes it a little bit difficult for him, because you have 3 choke points around which he can push, but he can't do so very safely. Probably wouldn't be a very effective move. Blue Boys is the one who's going to be mobile, searching for shots everywhere. Now, he is looking towards Militant Fires, and I do not believe that was any sort of a connection.
Now we see no health indicators being reduced on the side of SIMP. Dodoma.
More shots fired.
Straddling the train tracks here, looking for an opening against SIMP to return some fire.
Well, Commander J has crossed over in the meantime under cover of Dodoma, and that should allow Cunninghams to begin working the positions of SIMP. They do not have a hit point advantage right now. In fact, they're in a deficit, with Dodoma sitting at 841 hit points. But with him in a cover fire position, they may be able to utilize that pretty well.
4 minutes, 50 seconds.
I don't know if that's enough time. That's enough time maybe to throw it if they push too hard, but I think SIMP's going to be able to hold in this battle.
And that's all SIMP has to do. They have the points in their favor with that Battle 1 victory. They can play defensive throughout the rest of this best of 5.
Very much they can. And they're going to do that, actually taking a position in the northwest. Sing, Blue Boys, Fedge, Abrasive, all up there with a Droxus and Heavy 20 in their medium and heavy tank combo, able to overwatch that entire area. I feel like SIMP has now seen the positions that the Cunninghams have taken, and they're shutting them down. They're playing that coverage, although, wow, a little bit of damage onto Sing.
Yeah, they're trying to. Sing was able to take out the one T1 A Martin,
which is good, but that allows A Martin to control the team a little bit more closely and freely without the distraction of being in a T1.
Now Dodoma's going to cross the train tracks and head towards the position of Commander J, as the Cunninghams are in more of an assault mode as they're closer to the SIMP flag. However, they have no opening to get on the flag itself. Commander J just took a hit for 280. He falls back.
Oh, but Sing is under fire, and he is spotted. Shots going over him. He is tracked in the open. There, 501 right into him. And one more should finish him, and he will go down. That is a tier 8 dead for the side of SIMP. Advantage going into the favor of the Cunninghams. They can push this. They have 3 minutes to clean this up.
And they have to make that decision now. They can't hesitate on this. And if they want to sweep in for the kill, those T1s could escape in time with 3 minutes and 5 seconds, especially the spaciousness of this map in consideration.
Yeah. A little damage going out. We've got Heavy 20 now taking hits, evening it up. I was afraid for the Cunninghams 1390s because they have taken damage. Commander J and Dodoma have taken hits, which would make a push difficult. But with damage being traded now, Cunninghams might be able to close the gap. And with Comps leading the way, Militant following up, we could be seeing that situation begin to unfold.
Well, Germ from long range trying to keep that consistent fire raining down on SIMP. But now some shots to the side from the T1 will distract Commander J and Dodoma. And if this turret break remains, if they're focused on Fej, then there could be a push into one of the more damaged tanks, that being Militant 83.
Oh, and I love this position by Blue Boys. We've got Simp forcing them to go after Adroxus Heavy 20 in that pole position, but Blue Boys was on a flank, side shots onto Comps and Militant as they begin to close the distance. Adroxus is getting engaged on, and Comps is dealing a significant amount of damage in combination, but he will go down first. Comps is dead. That evens up the tier 8s and T1s.
Here comes a sweep from Commander J for the side shot to Adroxus. Adroxus turns, but explodes as Commander J lands the final shot. Militant 83 down to one more hit. He will fall as Blue Boys captain takes a first hit for 216 damage. Commander J now moving towards Blue Boys captain, fires on the move and misses as Abrasive takes another hit for 341. Fires again to the side of Blue Boys for 259 damage. Commander J's hit for 110. Now here comes Germ pushing up. Commander J gets the kill against Blue Boys with 1 minute and 26 seconds left. 3 tanks still alive for Simp. Cunninghams, if they're going to do this, they have to do it fast.
And we have a situation, though, where Heavy 20 may go down, but he may be able to delay this just long enough. He needs one more hit, but Germ is going so fast. That RU is so very quick. T1 Trireme is keeping track of Abrasive, and Germ misses one on the move, no surprise, but Abrasive, this all rests on him.
1 minute left as Trireme and the T1 Cunningham trying to enact vengeance against the 1390 here.
Oh, that sick drift. Did you just see
I
that
did.
by
That
Germ?
was beautiful. Germ still maintaining his course against Abrasive. Fires on the move for 660 at the end of that volley. Abrasive still on the run with a sliver of health. Germ pursuing like the predator that he is, trying to get his prey. Abrasive moving around the corner. And Germ takes him down.
And now Mac is the last. Never mind.
He's gone. Cunninghams ties up the series 1-1 on Prohorovka.
Nice. That was a difficult situation for the Cunninghams. The fact that they were able to overcome Simp in this battle is absolutely massive. I think it probably turned around when we saw Sing go down in the 1390. Before then, it was too dangerous for the Cunninghams, but Sing, he fired. I think that was it. He fired, he revealed himself, and once his position was open, he did not have enough cover to be able to avoid the incoming fire. You lost a tier 8, you lost a key member of the team, and 5v4, as far as tier 8s go, is not as difficult for the Cunninghams to deal with. You had a 1390 RU-251 coverage with a T-32, T-69 in a beautiful hold-down position, but they were not able to deal enough damage. Unfortunately, Simp was not able to hold them off. Fortunately for the Cunninghams, they were able to execute just about perfectly.
Well, one of the biggest issues that Simp had last season was the ineffective way they used time. And that's why they lost against #RU, among other things. But that was one of the biggest things they had to deal with. This was the flip side of that. Since they had the first battle under their belt, they had to pretty much wait for the clock to go down. But the Cunninghams did not give up. And they had a better trade with that long-range fire. And after that, Germ performed very well, showing the capabilities of the RU-251. But Simp's still not out of this yet. Ensk will be the next map, so now we're going to have more of the heavier tanks. And Simp, when it comes to performing with any type of tank, but especially heavies, have done very well.
Yes.
Very well.
I would think they're going to do very well on Ensk.
Adroxus Heavy 20.
Yeah, that combo of IS-3s is just so beautiful. They work brilliantly together. Cunninghams, I haven't known them to have that IS-3 combo like we've seen on Simple Tankers or Simp, or that we've seen on Fnatic in the past. They're going to have to try and find that, and we may find that with Militant 83 coming back to the team. He's always been an excellent heavy tank player.
The avenues of approach, now that it's a tie, I hope will be more engaging compared to a draw in terms of hesitation and trepidation on both sides. As a reminder, the winner of this match, of this semifinals, will go to Poland. The finals later on after the second semifinals will determine seeding for the Rumble in the West happening October 25th. Battle number 3 is almost ready, Rookkill. What do we have for tanks?
For tanks, I'm looking at 3 AMX 5100s, 2 IS-3s, 2 T1 Cunninghams for the side of Simp. On the other side, looks like the Cunninghams will have the same thing. 3 5100s, 2 IS-3s, 2 T1 Cunninghams. And I think it'll come down to execution with this, as tank choices won't have as much of an influence, both of them going to very standard play. 2 IS-3 battle buddies. We're going to have Heavy 20 and a Droxus, who will actually be playing a little bit split right at the beginning, covering the middle area of the map, with a kind of east side play from the 5100s, Blue Boys and Sing. Abrasive will be sitting in the middle for SIMP, and this is an interesting, very fragile lineup. The manner in which their tanks are laid out. If there is an aggressive push from the Cunninghams at the beginning, it could fall apart. Otherwise, SIMP can play the coverage, play the flex game, and perhaps do, I'm looking for a cap with a simultaneous engagement.
Yep. So far, Militant comps, 2 IS-3s, have been hanging back around the hotel line, but now 2 of the 5100s are now pushing forward, along with A. Martin in the T1, scouting ahead on the west side of the map. McAvinci could possibly spot A. Martin here via proxy spotting. Close enough, maybe just barely outside of range.
A little too far.
Yeah.
And they've got to get into the street, is what really needs to happen.
Got to take it to the streets.
Exactly. A. Martin will need to get into the street, get on that building, and then Mac will have to get pretty close to the building as well to get proxy. Proxy, of course, to remind everyone, is 50 meters from any tank. No matter what's in between you, you will spot them. It's just one of the mechanics of the game as a part of the spotting.
Randall, you and I are born and bred true blue Americans.
Yes.
I cannot picture 50 meters.
You can't?
I can't. I cannot picture 50. If you told me 50 feet, I could picture that. But when it comes to meters, I cannot picture what that looks like.
Do you know what a yard is? Well,
yeah, I do. I do.
Do you know how that compares with a meter?
Somebody has told me once, and I pretended to understand. But
yeah?
Go ahead and tell me.
Okay. Well, they're similar. Let's go with the simple answer.
All right, they're similar.
They're similar.
It's like 2.87 yards or something like that. I don't know. I stick with the Imperial system because it's what I understand.
Good.
When I look at the different tank stats, though, I try to use kilometers and liters and millimeters and centimeters.
I kind of stopped thinking in yards. Meters, tanks taught me, so I've kind of actually forgotten how, like, yard is 3 feet. I forgot that until just now.
Yeah?
Hadn't occurred to me.
Football, man.
I watch plenty of football, but stop thinking about yards.
100 yards, 300 feet.
There you go.
Well, Comps and the rest of his Tier 8 tanks are hanging out in the southwest, as SIMP has great map control, putting their heavier tanks down to the south. Comps fires into the side of the building just for kicks and giggles. And also maybe to take out some of his frustration. 6 minutes, 27 seconds left.
Sure that wasn't blind fire or something?
Battle number 3. Yeah, well, it could have been blind fire, but I don't think it made it through the building.
Yeah, it's an IS-3. Sniping with one of those is...
BL9, yeah, especially on the move.
Yeah.
She fired on the move.
Yeah, it's not gonna be consistent. You can hope for the new RNG. I mean, you get shots on the move sometimes.
Uh-oh, A. Martin may fall here.
Not yet.
In a matchup against McVinci, he gets behind him. McVinci, however, is going to turn.
Oh!
And Commander J gets the kill.
Surprise. 5100 out of nowhere.
That's teamwork. A. Martin's going to turn the corner and live another day, hopefully to scout what else is up here
Abrasive.
in the north.
It's abrasive. Shots fired. All the 5100s just unloading, taking down the buildings, trying to prevent him from having any sort of cover. A. Martin, in the meantime, will try to drive through these buildings to remove his cover, so these guys don't have to waste shells. I don't think they have enough shells left to finish him off.
Oh, yes, they do.
Oh.
A. Martin could get into the side here. He could finish this off, but Commander J takes down Abrasive. Great play by A. Martin in the T1 Cunningham to scout ahead to take out some of the... Well, most of the buildings, actually. He gets taken out by Heavy 20, but a lot of the cover up to the north.
That was smart. And I think maybe a mistake on Abrasive, sitting in a position where there was no real escape route in that situation. Cunninghams were able to make a hit and run, lose 0 hit points, by the way. Commander J is fine, Dodoma, Germ, this entire 5100 hit squad, no scratches. Abrasive was unable to reciprocate any of the damage.
Well, the rest of the Southwest team, the Cunninghams, is hanging back.
I mean,
they're regrouping, but 4 minutes and 36 seconds. That's enough time. But now's the time to charge. There's no reason for them to wait to the 2-minute mark or the 3-minute mark. Now's the time to go.
I think they're going all the way around to try and play the flexibility game. They will be found by Fedge shortly in the T1, but this will allow them to clean up that extra T1. And they've gotten rid of Mac. Now they'll get rid of Fedge.
Fedge dodges 2 shots.
I feel like they're getting a little bit loose with their play. They're not playing as conservatively as maybe they should. If you think about it, wasting all of these shells on a building when there's the potential for SIMP members to be just to the north, you could lose a tier 8 without being able to put enough damage out. However, with all 5 against 4, maybe you're willing to sacrifice a little of that efficiency for killing that T1 a little faster.
Yep. Go with the devil that you know. You go for the guaranteed kill.
Sure.
And though possibly that reload time will hurt you in the end. Well, Simp's acting accordingly by moving away from that northern section, that northeastern section of the map, and now going towards the west.
Yeah, they're transitioning into the northwest in order to defend their cap. They're looking to force the Cunninghams into an open ground position where they might be able to start a killing field, as it were, and maybe drop an IS-3 or a 5100 before they can deal enough damage and perhaps even the playing field. If they can do that, that's where SIMP can come back. But right now it's very difficult. They have a T1 advantage, the Cunningham, they have that tier 8 advantage. Every reason for the Cunninghams to win Ensk.
SIMP's going to have to hold on. 2 minutes and 49 seconds now as Comps leads the charge, fires towards Heavy 20, but it hits the railroad car as Comps pulls back, waiting for the reload.
Heavy 20 has done much the same, and he's going to continue destroying railroad cars. By the way, once they're destroyed, there are parts of them that you can fire through. So you could connect with the top of an IS-3 turret very easily with the top of a 5100 turret. And it's going to make this engagement a little easier. There is a nice shot out of Comps. Comps is tracked in the open, also with a nice 378. Singh attempts to get a connection, but it looked like it bounced on the very effective armor of an IS-3.
It bounced, but it also revealed Singh's location, as Blue Boys Captain and Singh were trying to set up a pincer attack against the charging IS-3s, but it could leave them too overexposed. Now Comps pushing up against Heavy 20 around the corner. Adroxus could pull back here. Heavy 20 is able to dodge that shot from Comps, and Singh's going to move in as Militant 83. Got a little bit too big for his britches here as Dodoma comes around the corner trying to charge up, and now smart play by SIMP. Focus on the 5100 rather than Comps.
And now Dodoma's going to play an equally smart play, getting in the way so that Comps will be able to have some cover to hide behind in the event of, you know, needing to draw out this fight. And we're looking at 3 tier 8s from the Cunninghams versus 4 from SIMP. They are able to play a better brawl in this battle right now.
Germ charges in the 5100 and gets the kill against Adroxus. One more shot into Comps and he will fall, but you could say the same thing for Singh, who's exposed his rear to Comps, who could be reloaded in time to get the kill here, but Heavy 20 and Singh, oh, and he gets it.
Oh, Germ is going way in. Very aggressive play. Heavy 20 does fire, but they might be able to finish him off. Commander J is able to get Blue Boys, and there goes Heavy 20, and Cunninghams have come back.
Cunninghams are now in the lead 2-1 against SIMP on Ensk. We saw really smart play with the T1, but in the end, it was just the 4 versus 5 advantage, honestly. I mean, the T1 play taking down that 5100, and then from there, Cunninghams had the advantage.
Yeah, SIMP did play very well, though. They looked like they were coming back for a moment, but they lost momentum with the auto-loaders. You see that a lot. With 5100s are reloading, you watch there be a lull in the fight. IS-3s begin to deal a lot of damage, and we should probably take a look at the post-battle as... well, doesn't look like I'm going to be able to pull that one up for you guys this time, unfortunately, sorry. The IS-3s are able to come up in the middle of a battle, right when the 5100s are reloading, and are able to deal sufficient amount of damage to kind of make up for the damage that wasn't dealt earlier, the damage that 5100s usually do. Their clip, they usually get a good, 2k damage out. They can usually drop a tier 8 by themselves, maybe a bounce in there, but you saw that kind of happen for SIMP, but then they kind of lost a lot of momentum. Sorry, that trailed on a bit.
No, when you were saying that, this is a position that we did not suspect. Did we think this would be a 3-0 for SIMP? No. But SIMP has always beaten the Cunninghams. Right now, if SIMP loses this, if Cunninghams wins the next battle, the Cunninghams have guaranteed themselves at least $5,000 out of that $50,000 prize pool. They've also guaranteed that SIMP will receive no money for the Rumble in the West, and the next time we'll see SIMP is going to be in Season 6. Or Season 5, excuse me, Season 5. Already jumping ahead 2 seasons. Oh, this is a very tough place for SIMP.
Yeah.
Very tough place for
SIMP.
SIMP.
If SIMP loses this, that would be absolutely mind-blowing. They're the team that everyone assumes is going to be going to this.
Yeah.
Now, the Cunninghams have always been scrappy, and every single match against SIMP has always been close in a series. But I don't think there's ever been one where I felt like the Cunninghams competed quite so well. I feel like with the Doma and Militant back on the team, Cunningham seems more competitive, able to stand up in the brawl better, and they're getting those T8s down. They're finding that T8 and they are eliminating it. They aren't playing around with it. They aren't having Commander J try and find something. They're just getting what they need to get victory.
And hopefully, SIMP can do the same on steps if they have a shot to make it to the Rumble in the West. Here we go, Rukel. Battle's going to take place on steps. What do we have for tanks?
All right. You're going to love this, guys. We've got a Pershing, T69, 2 AMX 1390s, a T54 lightweight, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. That is SIMP, the red team. Sorry, blue team. Spawning in the north. Red team in the south, Cunninghams. Pershing, T69, 2 1390s. They're going to bring an RU-251 instead, and then 2 T1 Cunninghams. And like these choices, I think the RU-251 plays very well on this map, but I would love to see how this T54 lightweight is able to play out. I think that'll be a very interesting tank. It mounts a 100mm cannon, which one was it? I believe it's a D10T variant, which used to be the top gun for the T44, and you could mount it on, what was it, the T3485, and also T43 for a time before they removed that. It's a very good gun for a light tank at tier 8. Some might argue it's not super potent, but I find it to be very effective. It's not a super fast reload, but it hits reasonably hard. It's got good, solid penetration. Accuracy on the move is not bad, actually. And it makes a solid tank. Also, as far as the new tier 8 light tanks go, it's the one with actual armor. It's got 80mm sloped.
Good.
Which is not bad.
We might see a couple bounces.
Is it 80mm? I might have to check myself on that one.
Sure, we can check later.
Yeah.
But it is exciting to see these new tanks on the battlefield.
Yeah, it's a nice tank. And of course, I love my T54, so this is a dream tank for me. After thousands of battles scouting in a T54, a medium tank, a light version of this, oh my gosh. I'm working for this tank right now.
Yeah.
I did not get to save up enough free XP so that when the patch dropped I was able to get it, but I really look forward to this tank being a top performer.
Commander J and Germ hanging out. Super defense coming from Cunninghams. It's too early to tell right now, real kill, but I'm going to say this now because I have a strong feeling this is what it will turn into. SIMP not using the clock to their advantage here.
That seems to be...
This is a continuous trend with them.
They could do it. They've got a new light tank which could allow them to speed things up, which Blue Boys might be able to do some work on that. I think the T54 can play that hit-and-run style. Cover Mac as he moves up here, get some kills. He's consistent fire. He's got a good amount. He's got a good hit point pool. 1,200, 100 more than a 1390 is a good pool to work from for a light tank. Armor that could actually bounce something on a good day.
Well, hopefully it's a good day for SIMP because they need it, but it's a great day for the Cunninghams so far.
Yeah, they're going to be able to play defensively right now, and as they are spawning in the south, the southwest is the best place to go. You've got a nice high ground, you've got plenty of cover, you've got some good bushes so that you can overwatch positions without getting spotted. Just about everything they need to prevent SIMP from being able to make a solid attack. SIMP has to attack. This is it. They can draw this one, and from there, maybe they could...
They could draw, but then from there they have to, again, be in a must-win scenario that would take us to a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And there, depending on the performance of this match and the next match, if this turns into a draw and the other one is barely a win for them, Cunninghams has a choice to defend. SIMP is, again, playing on the back foot. And if the SIMP was able to get a win as the attacker, that would be the first time ever in WGLNA history. But Cunningham's playing defensive. SIMP hanging out next to their flag. They have to make a move soon. 6 minutes, 2 seconds left. So we check into the different positions of the Cunninghams. Shot fired from Germ.
Doesn't hit
Blind
anything.
fire.
Yeah.
Germ's going to continue to fire. As we take a look at comps, the T69 Militant 83. Militant looking over towards the flag cap as comps in the T69 awaiting any movement, any sign of SIMP coming towards their location.
A Martin will detect that.
About 45 seconds, A Martin's going to find those tanks if they keep their course heading to the south.
Yeah, Abrasive's going to be taking that outside position for the 1390, verifying that nothing's coming across the open. Cunninghams aren't doing anything, you know, risky or bold in this battle yet, as they're going to be playing defensively. He might get spotted if he peeks out a little bit too far. There's a chance. A Martin should be able to spot someone soon. Adroxa is going to fire. Blind fire looks like. They're going to try and get some T1s if they can.
Another shot into the dirt.
If they blind fired A Martin. He's looking.
Oh, there he goes.
He gets it. All right. And that should cue a shift of position from the Cunninghams. They've got Dodoma in position already. Commander J barely has to do anything. Let's see. Germ has to shift a little bit. Oh, Dodoma's actually going to back off at this junction.
And Dodoma dancing back and forth here as Singh and Adroxis will push up. They are gaining ground towards
shots into comps.
Southwest. Comps 479 in that volley.
Wow, that should
Huge.
do pretty well. And here's a little bit of damage coming back. Dodoma should be able to put one onto Adroxis in just a moment. 1390 in that high ground position. There's the connection as he zeroes his shots. Not taking any back yet, and he might be able to put some hurt onto Adroxis, forcing him back, and that will put him at 720 hit points against comps at 624. Small lead in the favor of SIMP right now. They've lost A Martin, they've lost a little health on comps, but Adroxis is very low, and he is the main hit point pool for SIMP right now.
Besides the T1s, it's pretty evened out. But again, SIMP, if they're going to make a flank, make the flank down No Man's Road. Use that to your advantage. Surprise them. You're running out of time again. There's this hesitation where Adroxis got hit, so now they have to change their plan if Adroxis was going to be the leading man in the Pershing.
Yeah. At this point, this is the main complaint we have about SIMP. They don't want to rush headlong into it, and you can't blame them.
No, you can't.
They were detected. Now they have to shift position. Their opponent is able to shift their defense so that all guns are pointed in the right direction. Now, as you talked about the No Man's Road, it looks like Abrasive is going to be heading that way. With that, we've got Blue Boys on the way as well, so... Oh, and Singh. Singh will be joining them, I believe. And that will give a 3 light tank push right up the middle with a complement of the medium tanks taking the far west side. Adroxis and Heavy 20. And Dodoma may have just spotted Heavy 20, which could keep guns all pointed. I think that's an important thing to look for.
It is.
If Cunninghams have all guns still pointed in the right direction, or just some of their guns pointed in the right direction.
Well, they had them pointed in that direction for a while until Commander J and Germ are now moving towards the center of the map as Blue Boys, Singh, and Abrasive are doing the same, but in the south. They could approach
the flank.
One of these tanks.
There it is, shots into comps. Doesn't really have anywhere to run. One more shot.
And he's down. Blue Boys captain gets that kill. That's the first tier 8 to fall, and SIMP is looking mighty here as they move in against the Cunninghams. But can the Cunninghams still use the defense into their favor? Germ gets hit for 253 as he falls back. And now 2 of the tanks from SIMP are on the flag cap, forcing Germ to fire against the T1. He takes down 1, and he takes down... Oh, can't get it. The velocity of the shell's a little bit slower on Germ's tank, and Commander J is low. Blue Boys captain is able to close that deal, but Singh falls.
All right, well, that's a nice trade right there. And in the meantime, we do have 3 tier 8s. Militant is about down. Heavy 20 could be closing in.
Germ's shot only does 37 damage to Blue Boy's captain because it hit him in the tracks. Blue Boys fires for 257, but a big shot from Germ. Heavy 20 takes down Militant. And Blue Boys tries to get behind Germ. Can he fire in time? He misses! He missed a shot. Blue Boys captain falls. Germ still holding on.
And now Adroxus is about to finish off Dodoma. If he can, if not Dodoma. Oh, Heavy 20 is able to save him. Battle buddies for life right there.
2 tanks still remain. One a tier 8 Germ, the other a T1 Trireme who is on the run. And if SIMP can't get to him in time, it'll be a draw in favor of the points of Cunninghams right now.
Yeah. And that will take them to battle number 5 where SIMP can tie up the series, take this to the tiebreaker, or we could see Cunninghams finish this one out. Germ is, I guess, opting not to go for any kind of engagement. He knows that Heavy 20 is sitting on a nice 857 hit points. That's a little bit too much for that RU to try and deal with. That light tank doesn't quite deal that much damage, or he doesn't want to depend on himself able to deal that much damage in such a short amount of time. With 26 seconds left, we've got both guys heading northeast. SIMP actually recognizing that that is the direction they're going to head. Is going to start hunting him down, but at this point I think it's going to head off to a draw.
Germ dancing around. And 2-1. I was thinking maybe they could go for the long shot, but Germ ducked down into the valley, leaving it impossible for SIMP to reward the chase to get the kill. And that means it's going to be a draw on steps between these two teams.
Huh.
We have one more battle rule kill to determine who's going to move on into the finals and who's going to Poland. That battle will happen after this.
Clutch, what do you think about bringing the size 3 on steps?
Did you know I'm learning Mandarin? Konnichiwa.
Hello, my name is Randall Rukil.
Ruse rules. Don't fry bacon without a shirt.
Oh my gosh! Rukil, did you see that T1 Amarak? Unbelievable! First play of the game. How ridiculous is Clutch? Seriously.
I was SIMP's #1 main scout, North America server.
So, Clutch, I heard you like the T-32.
Well,
what do you
hold
think?
up a second.
Oh, sorry, I was just admiring myself. That'll look great on Instagram.
Forward is the best direction. Nailed it.
Alright guys, we had a blast. Thanks for watching WGLNA Season 4. Rukil, what do you think?
Good guys games night.
Hello, tankers, and welcome to crew training. Any competent vehicle operator knows that the moving parts of a machine will break down, especially if they're getting shot at. When it comes to tanks, the tracks are the most common mechanism a crew will scramble to fix. That's where repairs come in. The repair skill increases a crew member's ability to fix a damaged module. Every single member of your crew has this ability, and it's highly recommended that it's the first skill that you research. When the repair skill starts gaining experience, you will notice a reduction in repair time when a module goes out of commission. Tracks, turrets, viewfinders, even the engine may need a couple bangs from a wrench after a lucky shot from the enemy. If you need to repair a module instantly, you can use a small repair kit, which you purchased before the battle began. You can also purchase the large repair kit, which adds plus 10% to the crew repair speed. Now, once this kit is used, that bonus is gone, but every single damaged module is fully repaired. Some tank commanders prefer to install a toolbox, adding plus 25% to the crew repair speed. If you can tell the difference between a wrench and a torsion bar, we'll make a mechanic out of you yet. Good luck, and we'll see you on the battlefield.
Here we explore tank facts about the TOG-2. The TOG-2 is an endangered species from the remote island of Great Britain. It is considered endangered because this tank's natural habitat, trench warfare, is no longer a viable method of combat. The TOG 2 is a monstrous tank capable of absorbing 1,400 hit points before it explodes in a ball of nostalgia. For size comparison, the TOG 2 is longer than a mouse, and I don't mean the furry kind. One thing that everyone can agree on is the TOG 2 is very, very slow, like a turtle or a boat. Really? Whoa! Coming in hot? The TOG 2 may move like a turtle, but it's a turtle with laser beams. The OQF 17-pounder Mark 7 gun can fire 12 rounds per minute. When using APCR rounds, this gun can penetrate up to 239 millimeters of armor. Despite its speed, the TOG 2 proves that in battle, slow and steady wins the race. With laser beams.
All right, welcome back, folks. Almost ready for Mines. The final battle in this best of 5 between Simp and the Cunninghams. Last battle was a draw on Steps. Cunninghams took Ensk and Prohorovka. And the first battle tonight on Cliff was a win for Simp. Now, this is what can happen. If Cunninghams plays for the draw and is able to, they win. If Simp wins this battle, that means we're going to go to a tiebreaker. We'll have to have our admin deliberate for who did the most amount of damage. And I'm glad it's going to be my favorite map, Mines, but I don't know what's going to happen at all. I mean, we honestly don't know what's going to happen, but all of my predictions based on what these two teams have brought in their entire careers so far, it's gone out the window. Because Cunninghams are playing very well, and it's not only Commander J this time.
Well, and the pressure is on. We have a timeout called right now. So we've got an extra 60 seconds on the clock for these guys to begin their battle. Yep. And it looks like it was called by A. Martin from the Cunninghams. So the Cunninghams are putting a lot of pressure on this battle. They know they have the chance to win. This is Mines. They will be spawning, it looks like, on the south. So I would give them a slight advantage in the ability to defend, but I don't think that's an absolute. Simp is a team that knows Mines pretty well, and I'd think they're going to be able to break it if the pressure is really on, but I'm not entirely sure. Simp is in a difficult position.
You're Cunninghams.
All right.
In the south, playing defense for the win. Do you bring a 5100?
Defense for the South Cunninghams.
If they were north, I would say yes. But south,
no, you could do it. A T32, 5100, maybe 2 T32s. No, that's a hard consideration. It depends on the way you want to play out. The way I would like to play out is control the middle, or at least just below the middle of the map, just below the mine. Don't quite take it because from the south the jump is poor. So definitely going for that. T32s, maybe 1, maybe 2. One of the light tanks, probably 1390. You can heavy up if you want, make it difficult for your opponent to move in, but you have to maintain control. So light tanks are important for flexibility in order for you to be able to move from one side of the map to the other very easily and be able to stop your opponent's aggression. Because if, for example, Simp is going to bring enough light tanks, they bring maybe 1 T32, maybe a Pershing T69, whatever. If they can get those 1390s around to the flanks and begin putting fire into the sides of various Cunningham's tanks, if they do not bring enough light tanks, they do not bring enough mobility, they cannot address those issues. They cannot react properly. And so Simp would be able to defeat them on that level of play. If they bring enough heavy tanks and they find the right spot to play defensively, they could make it difficult enough for Simp to push in. There's a lot of what-ifs, and depending on what these guys' strategies are. Yep. They just have to not make any mistakes on the defense. Simp cannot afford to overplay their hand on the offense.
I wonder what the odds were for those that bet for Cunninghams compared to Simp.
I would guess heavily.
I'm saying 2 to 1 at least.
2 to 1, maybe 3 to 1.
Yeah.
For Simp, as far as the general opinion of the public was going.
The question right now for Simp is, can they break any defensive play that the Cunninghams bring? And if there is one team that could break defenses, it was Fnatic against Cunninghams. And they were down 0-2 against the Cunninghams. We were able to bring it back 3-2 in that series. It was impressive play from Fnatic, but can Simp take a page out of that chapter written by a team that was known for their aggression and tactics that wowed us, but now is no longer with us? Water side, I feel, is the key on Mines for Simp to use effectively. The east side, as much as I'm an advocate for east side play, is going to be too predictable and seen too quickly with the T1 positioning coming from Cunninghams. If they play it smart, if they play it fundamentally
Yeah.
But the water side speed could be the biggest advantage that Simp could have at the beginning. I'm not talking about past the 5-minute mark, at the beginning, to where Cunninghams cannot create the fence of defense. They
can't throw up the walls they need.
Exactly.
If the water side is taken. I agree.
A wall is such a better image to use than a fence. It really is.
I really do agree with that. Water side, I believe, is the key. When you run into a defensive position in the south, the traditional one, tanks below the hill, some guys sitting back towards the base, 1390s maybe flexing around here or there. Water side is the main weakness. If you can overmatch it, not too much, just a little bit. Maybe two tanks where they have 1, 3 tanks where they have 2. That's all you need to overmatch that. Maybe if you do 4 where there are 2, sometimes you find your opponent's able to react properly and they don't lose that much. They're able to actually reciprocate some of that damage or make up for it in taking control of positions and setting tempo. But water side, I have to agree wholeheartedly, is exactly where Simp is going to win this battle if they do.
Make Cunninghams play reactive to you, Simp, not the other way around. But for the Cunninghams, they need to watch that water side. But this is the T1 play. This is A. Martin, who's performed very well this match. But the T1s are going to be so crucial for the first minute of this game. They really are. Battle number 5 between Cunninghams and Simp is about to begin. We're in the countdown. Rookkill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, it looks like we've got a 5100, IS-3, T-32, T-69, T-49, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for Simp. They are the blue team spawning in the north. And Cunninghams will have an IS-6, T-32, T-69, 2 1390s, 2 T1 Cunninghams. Very interesting lineups. From Simp, you've got this very heavy lineup. 5100 IS-3, T-32, right? T-32 for the mid, IS-3 to back it up, 5100 for damage. T-69, nice damage. 900 and abouts in the clip, and with that, you can place that where you'd like and you can deal a good amount. Blue Boys, in this T-49, is going to hit so hard. I don't see a situation where he's not going to be that effective. Maybe the IS-6, he's going to have trouble with that spaced armor, really hurts tanks like the T-49.
Look at the positioning of Commander J and Germ already. They've taken the south water side.
Oh, this head game. I just realized that's going on right now. Simp opts not to go much for the water side at the beginning and instead puts pressure on the hill. After that, they're going to flex, and it looks like Blue Boys might head towards water side right now, but they have hill control. And Cunninghams have not given them that. This is a back and forth. They're trying not to play dominated strategy, or there is no dominating strategy on mines. There's ones that loosely dominate each other, and they're predicting what their opponent's best strategy is or what they will do, and they're reacting off that. And both of them have played this game now. We've got that west side from Cunninghams predicting Simp at the water side, and we've got Simp, instead of going towards the water side, heading towards the hill. And they're going to be placing some very potent tanks up there. We've got Abrasive sitting at a decently potent position. He's going to be able to do work here when the opportunity arises. And Heavy 20 and a T-69. A T-69 on the hill is perfect.
Mac Gavinci. It's also the Mac attack.
Yeah, Mac G as we usually know him.
Mac G, yeah. That is Marcus Gomez.
Yeah, I guess he's decided... he's had this name for a while now. It's very silly.
Militant 83 took a hit in that T-32, but look at it's this gaping maw, this mouth, these jaws of the Cunninghams welcoming Simp to come in and for them to fall to the crossfire.
Just asking for him to push the 4-5?
Yeah.
But they
threw out the welcome mat here at the crossroads, but Simp won't fall for that.
Yeah. It's an obvious trap. The crossfire is beautiful in that position. You've got tanks in the west, tanks in the east, someone directly south.
Cunninghams
couldn't ask for a better situation if Simp does that.
Cunninghams, even though they want to set this up, Simp knows that if they send one of their tanks, it could not repel firepower of that magnitude.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Shot fired from Heavy 20 into the bushes close to Commander J, and A. Martin has fallen. That could leave a window open for Blue Boys captain to push further south. Commander J could get the first shot in that 1390. Hiding in the bushes.
Maybe. But Blue Boys, I find this T-49 to be an incredibly potent tank. If he RNGs some shots out there and he gets a connection on Commander J, he's going to mess that tank up. Commander J is going to probably lose it at that point and not have a lot of options left. He's not going to be able to come back out and peek. Blue Boys, once he's loaded, I expect to see him firing.
Let's check in with the rest of the Cunninghams, as Germ is the reinforcement for Commander J in case
he needs backup.
Skirmish. Yeah, in case a skirmish happens. Well, I was looking at Germ, seeing if he could fire a shot towards Heavy 20 or Abrasive in the center. He's dancing back and forth here for any opening. Fires, blind fire, does not hit.
Now, I don't know if that was blind. That was pretty close.
Not very close, but there's nothing up there to scout, really, except Trireme's proxy, but they're not close enough for that.
Abrasive was entering the hill at that exact moment. Very, very close shot from Germ. And I guess since he's reloading right now, we won't be able to see any fire like that for a while. But with Abrasive on the hill, IS-3s aren't super potent up there. Gun depression is an issue for many Russian heavy tanks. So he might be able to snipe a bit, especially on the wider angles out in the west, but directly below the hill, he's not going to be able to be that effective. But now we do see SIMP doing something interesting. Take a look at the mini-map and see how we have Heavy 20 shifting over. We've seen Singh now shift. Where he was around the 4 line, he's now on that 1 line right behind Blue Boys. They've recognized 5 minutes into the battle that perhaps they need to push waterside, or that is a potential weak point. I'm not sure if it was the best option at this point in the battle, if they shouldn't have done it earlier, like we were talking about before this match started, doing an early water push, but a late one might work out. We'll have to see if the Cunninghams are able to react well enough. Oh, that's a good reaction. Mac is down. Commander J is on the reload now, and behind this push we have Singh Heavy 20 moving up with Blue Boys in a cover fire position overwatch.
Oh, and Commander J reloading can't do anything here.
He can spot it. That's something. That's just a little
Singh
bit.
can take a hit for 251 though, and so does Heavy 20.
That's paying for the position. They're paying the toll.
Oh, Commander J gets hit in the tracks, but the tracks don't break.
329 damage onto Germ, and we've got Blue Boys Captain reloading. So Germ is tagged on the way out here.
Germ gets hit in the tracks, he gets stopped in the water. Heavy 20 may peek up along with Singh to get a shot against Germ, but they don't want to risk it.
Singh peeks out. He's got it. He's got it beat.
Fires up above towards Commander J. Doesn't land.
And now he's lost his opening. Heavy 20 does look for some connections as well, but now we do have waterside domination. Cunninghams have given up the position. SIMP is now able to take the entirety of the 4 line and west. Blue Boys covering, kind of like an RD piece, 152mm cannon. Just try and snipe with it, maybe. But we have SIMP closing the gap. There will be an engagement.
Oh, big bounce up the front of Comps as Singh takes a hit and a volley for 438.
Ouch.
Heavy 20 around the corner.
Not what they need right now. Blue Boys is in a position to cover, but when he's moving like this, I'm not so sure. He has also reloaded, perhaps going for a different shell type in an engagement like this.
Droxus gets hit. Almost at half health as Heavy 20 and Singh are stopped against Germ, Commander J, and Comps.
They need to close this in. They need to get that crossfire going, but they also need to maintain a level of safety. SIMP can't afford to take too much damage or find themselves overmatched. And as it stands, Heavy 20 and Singh can perhaps take on Comps and Commander J, but not with Germ there. If Germ comes around and the angle is correct, and SIMP has put their T-32 IS-3 combo in the wrong spot, we're going to see Cunninghams come out ahead.
3 minutes and 10 seconds for SIMP to push in. This is a must-win scenario for them. Cunninghams simply have to hold. Nothing simple about it, though, as their 1T1 is down and Trireme doesn't have a lot of places to hide. And Comps gets hit for 2, 587.
And there's the crossfire. It's happening now. We've got a T-32 on the high ground, firing, missing a shot, unfortunately. Abrasive as well. Gets a connection for 376. This is where it could get evened up. However, Dodoma Militant are able to reply to that and put a little bit of damage right into Abrasive. He has to be careful.
And there comes the turn corner. Commander J is down, but they take down Heavy 20. Germ pushing up against Singh. 1390 takes down the 5100 as Comps is waiting for Blue Boys Captain to turn around on that corner, but Blue Boys waiting for the reload before he engages.
It's just about loaded.
And he fires and takes down Germ. Comps could be next.
But Comps has free reign to kill him now. He can just roll in.
There's 1. Then he get 2. Can that T-32 hit him from behind, though, in time?
I think he just
There's 3.
fired. He bounced.
He did bounce, and Comps able to get all 4 shots on Blue Boys, but their Abrasive takes him down.
Now it's 2v2. We've got 2 tier 8s, Dodoma and Militant, sitting at 1192 hit points and full hit points on that IS-6, 1550 against a Droxus and Abrasive. 2 Tier 8 heavy tanks who've taken a good amount of damage. And of course, we've got the T1s, but there's not quite enough time, I think, for them to find
Well, Abrasive takes another hit for 301 damage in that IS-3. There's not much he can do unless he gets an awesome hit against the T-32. Trireme, the T1s fight it out. Fej falls. It's 2 tanks remaining for SIMP as they push up against this heavily fortified position for the 2 remaining tanks that can do damage.
Droxus just bounced onto Doma, that IS-6 in a perfect position, and he was not able to get that lower plate shot he was looking for.
There goes Abrasive. The Cunninghams are 1 tank away from going to Poland and defeating SIMP. 1 more shot from Dodoma to take down Adroxus. Adroxus lines it up in his T-32. He's not going to give up, but the 1 shot remaining from Dodoma gets it, and they do it. The Cunninghams are going to Poland.
This is absolutely amazing. This is unprecedented. We have not seen the Cunninghams actually overcome SIMP. They've always been scrappy. It's always been close, but never have they actually come out ahead with a 3-1 victory. 3 wins against 1 with a single draw in that series. That is beautiful for the Cunninghams. They have added Dodoma, they've added Militant back into the group, and I think that's what did it. These guys were performing very, very well. And we have here a Cunninghams which I think can compete. Now, the biggest question is, can they overcome the big European teams?
Can they defeat School Bus or Virtus Pro?
Yeah.
That's what we have to find out in Poland October 25th. But a huge congratulations to Cunninghams. They've secured at least $5,000 out of the $50,000 prize pool. And this is a very historic moment for them and for their team. They've been trying profusely, hard, over and over again in every season. And they've had certain setbacks and difficulties because of scheduling and school for members and the holidays, and you can make a list of all sorts of obstacles they've had to overcome in order to remain as a team and to be a contender in the top 8. And now they defeated SIMP.
Just
impeccable.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Impeccable. Congratulations to Cunninghams. We will be having a post-game interview with the winner. Now we're going to see him again tonight facing the winner of Timed Out or Bernal Empires in the finals for the North American qualifiers of Rumble in the West. But they are still going to Poland. The finals is to determine the seeding of which team they're going to face first in EU.
Ash, I just want to return to a few points
yes.
while we have a chance here, right before we get to this interview, which is the Cunninghams have turned themselves around. This is something that we haven't seen before, and they're competing at such a high level. And I think we need to talk a little bit about what probably went into them being able to do this. What did they do right? What were they doing so differently from before that has changed the way Cunninghams have played and allowed them to convincingly beat SIMP? Every time they beat SIMP, what were the things that we saw? We saw TA go down. Then we saw a follow-up, a timely follow-up. Something would change within... we'd see them make a push or make an action within the next minute or two following that TA kill. They wouldn't hesitate. They wouldn't wait a minute or two and try and figure it out. They're making decisions faster, and I really like that about the Cunninghams.
We have someone on the line from the Cunninghams to hopefully answer the questions that Randall had. I think we can hear him now.
Yeah,
can you hear us now, Martin?
Yeah, you're really weirdly staticky. Am I sounding okay?
Yeah, you sound perfect. You look great.
Okay.
And then I say that and it freezes. All right. Just kidding.
Yeah. I got an ad now instead of you, and so it's really hard to figure out what's going on. But yeah, we won.
Yeah,
you won. Congratulations.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a few things. You've picked up Dodoma. You've picked up Militant again. Welcome back, Militant, I guess, right?
Yeah, so this is Dodoma's private. So seeing as we won, I guess that went fairly well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we picked Militant back up, which is nice. Connus has moved, so he's not playing anymore. And Conflict didn't quite work out, but he's actually with us for this thing.
Okay.
Fun stuff, because he's a good guy.
Yeah, I noticed when you guys were winning, we'd see a T8 go down. Like on Prohorovka, we saw you guys take out Singh, and then you followed that up really quick. What was different about in the past? Because we'd maybe see a T8 get killed, but we wouldn't see a follow-up this quick. It seemed like you guys were faster today.
2 things. Basically, new tanks that we have not had time to get adjusted to at all, which is kind of ridiculous, but anyway. And not full-skill crews. So, like on proc, we can push over and not get spotted in time. So having those not full-skill crews made things more able to happen, I guess, and we capitalized.
So you felt like because you have different accounts from the regular WGLNA, you were able to play very differently and
Yeah, we
capitalize
felt our
upon
light
this.
drivers had more skills on their accounts.
Oh, I see.
So, hey, Martin, what's the preparation now for you and the rest of your team to go to Poland in October?
So I have to order jersey for Dodoma and Matt, I guess. That's about it.
Is that the new jersey that you're wearing now?
Yeah. You can't really see, can you? Here,
Oh, I can see it.
my preview of myself is about like 1 inch by 1 inch. There's a big ad taking up my whole screen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now we can definitely see the symbol on the front left of the shirt. Looks good. All right, so in terms of preparation, though, are there any of the European teams you hope to contact and skirmish with? Has that ever been part of the practice regimen for the Cunninghams?
No, it hasn't. Not sure it will be either for a couple reasons that we can't discuss.
Sure.
Mainly that maybe the practice might not be as useful as it sounds.
Of course.
But yeah, we'll get some reps in. I don't know if scheduling with them means we have to basically do it in the middle of Saturday or Sunday, right?
Yeah, or stay up different hours. Well, in the end, Martin, we'll see you again play tonight, obviously, in the finals against Timed Out or Bernal Empires. Which team would you rather fight against in the finals?
Well, I think BAE probably really, really wants to beat us because I think we've had their number in the past. Like, I don't even know if we've dropped a game against them. It's been really weird because they're a good team, and we had some scrims against them that went fine, but I think every match we've had against them, we've, like, 3-0 or 3-1. I may be remembering wrong. So I think they might be a little hungrier. So maybe want to see the new guys. We'll see.
And then what about Virtus Pro School Bus?
What?
You said Bernal Empires was the team you preferred to fight in the finals for this. What about when we go to Poland?
Oh, and they're whatever. We'll just YOLO at them, and they'll be surprised.
They'll have no idea what to
magically fall into place.
Yeah.
All right, sweet plan.
Congratulations,
That was actually
Martin.
our discussion. Cliff, we lost because we didn't YOLO.
Really?
Yeah, because our lineup, we couldn't deny the 49 at the top of the lighthouse, so we just had to YOLO into
Yeah,
them.
Blue Boys performed very well up there in that 49. Anything you'd like to say to your fans, Martin, before we say goodbye?
Have some bacon. Celebration time.
Have some bacon. Celebration time. All right, Martin. Congratulations. We'll see you later tonight. And then after that, we'll see you in Poland. All right, see you later.
See you.
Well, the Canadian team, the Canadian-American team is going to be going, representing the American region. Well done to the Cunninghams. But like I said before, we'll see them again in the finals. The next matchup is going to be Timed Out versus Bernal Empire's Rookhill. After what we saw in this first match, this first semifinal, I have no idea what's going to happen in Timed Out versus Bernal Empires.
All precedents are thrown out the window.
Yep.
Especially after this new patch, changing absolutely everything up.
Well, I loved seeing these new light tanks, and hopefully we'll see more of these light tanks used in the semifinals and the finals. We'll have that match of Timed Out versus Bernal Empires after this. Stay tuned.